All right, this is recording 8:31. Listen next, 8:31. The name of my podcast is Speaking to the CIA. You can find me at speakingtothecia.com or christinastation918.com. Okay, so let me continue here. So this one is going to be Bill Cosby continued, okay? So, all right, so people were listening to my podcast, and then they were communicating with me in mental telepathy, and they're like, hey, we see this, we see this, we see that. And then I'd note it down, and then I'd figure out more, and then they would figure out more, and then I'd figure out more. So there's a lot more here, and you're going to be in shock, but not in shock if you've been following my entire podcast. As I told you, I'm on Listen Next 830. This is my 830th recording, plus the original 15. So if you've been following along, you're going to be like, oh my God. So, okay, so here we go. So also, okay, so in Fat Albert, they were pointing out number one, the FA, okay, and a T is LL, okay, a short T is 2 L's. So anyway, it's probably where the phrase tall one came from. I bet you anything. So anyway, so what she's doing by using the name Fat Albert is Jean is leaking. She's about to do the World Trade Center attack and Oklahoma City bombing. Alfred P. Murrah and then Albert. And then you probably also know with Sesame Street, if you've been following along with that. Some of this I have in my podcast, some of it I don't. But you could probably see what else she did there. So, I mean, it's just frame everybody, blame everybody, and get the hell away with everything. So, it's more of Gene Roberts' eyes. So, in this, okay, so remember what Fat Albert looked like? He had the big red shirt. Okay, so then that links to the Kool-Aid Man. Okay, remember the Kool-Aid commercials? Okay. Then that connects to also Rainbow. We're all going to get to the Kool-Aid in a minute. Rainbow vacuum. Remember I was talking about rainbows? Okay, so rainbow, also add rainbow vacuums. And vacuum, Edgar J. Hoover and Hoover vacuums. And Gene Roberts even marketed a Dirt Devil, a Scorpion Dirt Devil vacuum. Okay, and I am the Scorpio child. Jean wants to sacrifice me. Jean keeps claiming she's me and pretending to be me because she likes to have her cake and eat it too. She buys a baby. She eats it. She sells it. She rapes it. She makes money off it. All its life. And then she kills it. That's gunny sacking. Only everybody doesn't do that anymore. But Jean and her occult have been doing that for 60 years. That's the raw truth of it. Okay? Now, in my case, she pre-planned for me to be born. Like I told you, she arranged she arranged my parents' relationship, like she pre-planned for me to be born. You have to see on my podcast. Okay, I decoded my birthday. She even I'm not gonna sit and go through everything over and over. She It's all in my podcast. People are trying to get me to just, like, say everything over and over to like waste time when it's already in my podcast. There'd be Gene Roberts people because she thinks she's getting away with it. So anyway, so then vacuum and that CL code HVAC. I decoded a ton on HVAC. I decoded a ton of FBI. So much FBI I decoded. Because she was the one who formed the FBI. And she had control of the FBI back then. This is very, very crazy. She was underneath everything. She's the leader of Charles Manson. She was also underneath the Masons, as you guys know, for those of you guys who've been following along. Okay, so anyway, so let me continue. I'm not going to talk at a second grade level because people have 12th grader brains on. Okay, so anyway, so bullpen is also in that. Somebody pointed that out to me. They pointed that out to me the next day. And also, which I already know this, but I haven't put it in my podcast because I keep forgetting about it. She keeps blinking my brain. With all the pin code, also pin the tail on the donkey. She did that too. Also, somebody wanted to say to me that in response to my talking about the shrinking middle class or the disappearing middle class, and that Gene Roberts, who's on tonight this evening, trying to show out. I don't know, it just makes me sick. She makes me sick. She makes me sick. She needs to be arrested. But anyway, I can hear her in my brain. She's snotting out, having a damn good time. Like she didn't do a damn thing. Like she's not getting turned in. Anyway, so, someone said in response to Jean claiming that she owns the United States of America, because this is what she keeps telling me, that she owns the United States of, she financially owns the United States of America. She owns everybody. And all of that. Okay, so this is what they said. The greater portion, as far as owning the United States of America, the greater portion of the United States of America is owned by Gene Roberts. Not the entire United States of America, but the greater portion of it. So they said that in reference to the economy. I didn't ask economy and real estate, but I imagine it's the same thing. So, but it's not the entire U.S. And they said, so no, she doesn't own the U.S. In addition, that is not the way that the U.S. should operate. I own the place. Well, she's a criminal, but they're saying even if you live in her fantasy freaking world where she pretends that she gets to be the kingdom ruler of the United States of America because she financially owns it, that's not the way the United States runs. She needs to be arrested immediately. So, anyway, okay, so more. Also, Magic Pin, they said that also goes to the M and the P, they said military police. And then also, okay, so this also goes to the magic shell. And I told you in a previous podcast when I was little, when I lived in Globe, I was in grade school, and Gene Roberts iced me, playing a prank on me by icing me, and she thought it would really be funny. And even what she did, icing me. Anyway, so my mom, she bought Magic Shell, the chocolate syrup that when you pour it on the ice cream, it gets hard and crunchy on the ice cream. Okay, so the Magic Shell was in the cabinet, okay? So Anyway, my mom did not have magic shell in it. She had vegetable oil in it. Which I guess she was using for cooking. But I didn't know that. I was like, I see magic shell in the cabinet. I'm going to have some magic shell. So I climb up the cabinet and open the cabinet. And I get the magic shell out. And I open my mouth. And like you're squirting like whipped cream in your mouth. I open my mouth. I squeeze the magic shell bottle. Thinking chocolate syrup is just going to pour into my mouth. And out is oil, vegetable oil. My whole mouth fills with oil. I was spitting it out everywhere. I was like, oh my God. So anyway, I mean, I was a little girl, but I mean, I was like, ah! Anyway, so she freaking did this to me, okay? And I decoded a bunch of stuff with this, okay? So around this whole event, this is all a cipher. So I decode all this out. And I figure out that she is running, and I want you to note one of the characters in Fat Albert, the shell on his, the shell cap on his head. Okay, Gene is very careful and very meticulous to make it look like everything is everybody else. Because she wants to trick people into doing her bidding for her. Okay, told you she has a global dominion plot. She's a white supremacist. All you're ever going to get out of her is white supremacism. So I decoded all this out, her future terror plots and her global dominion plot and her whole freaking plot and scheme on how, and this, she pre-planned this, like, when I say she pre-planned this, like, this is pre-planned even before her predecessor, Columbus, okay? So she followed in Columbus's footsteps, like the plan was already in place when she took over and she formed the Manson occult and she took over and it was given to her or started or passed to her by her dad. Her dad got her up and running, got her going, and then she created the Manson occult and she's been the leader of Manson ever since. The actual Charles Manson occult. You're gonna have to go through my entire podcast. So anyway, so she's been the leader ever since. So this is a part of her plot and plan. Okay. So it's like the freaking getting the horse, like, this is how she views people. She views people as product, as animals. She views the whole United States as this. She believes that she is Columbus royalty. She believes that she is very, very, very special. And everybody in the United States is product. Now, not everybody who is a Columbus descendant, obviously, is Gene. And that's what Gene does. Gene is Charles Manson. That's her shtick. It's called white peopling. She will go and go, Christina's attacking me and she's saying this, like, oh my God. So I'm going to pretend that she's saying this about you. And it's because she's turning me in. So what I'm going to do is turn the tables and I'm going to get you all pissed off and upset. So then you get pissed at her and I trick you into fucking attacking her for me. That's Charles Mansoning. That's white supremacism. She's playing people. This is an elite group of chosen, they chose themselves on whatever criteria, which I really could give a shit about. I think that part of it I think is funnier than hell. Like, are you, like, oh my God, what the stupid of these people. But anyway, they're like an elite special select group, okay, of this bloodline. They are white Satanist supremacists. They select in their group who is inside their group. But that inner core, they are always the winner. They are always number one. It's always them. Everyone else that spawns out and gets used, abused, played, whatever. That's what she does. That's Charles Mansoning. And she will be your best friend and trick you and white people you and tell you all kinds of crap just to get you to do her work, her dirty work for her. Okay? It's total manipulation and conning. Okay? So now that's on a small level of her getting pissed at me because I turned her in because she's the leader of a damn demonic occult for committing terrorism and running child trafficking rings. And her using her white power to claim she owns the United States, and then I can't turn her in. And she can do what she wants to anybody. She doesn't care. She'll spread a lie. Everybody will believe it. She tells me that like every week, I swear to God, in my brain. I don't care. Everybody believes what I say and everybody does what I tell them to do. I don't care. That's what she tells me all the time. Anyway, so on the terrorism level, okay, so this is all pre-planned. So she steps in his footsteps. The plan is already in place. She steps in his footprints she steps in his footsteps and she takes over. I decoded all of this. I'm not just talking, I decoded all this. I'm giving you a summarization right now. So anyway, so she tricks you. She wants civil war. So how do you accomplish civil war? Piss people off. And she wants civil war and she wants it her way. So you got to do what? You got to piss people off. What's going to piss them off? Do really heinous, horrible things to them. Make sure they think it's someone else, confuse and lie to them. Pretend to be their best friend. If they get wise to you, silence them to make them even madder. So until they burst and they tell somebody else and they get pissed off. So it's spontaneous combustion all over the place. And she wants to control it. Okay? So she wants to cause civil war and she wants to control it. Like everybody in the United States is just her little play toy. Everybody. And that's literally how she treats everybody. So anyway, okay, so I don't even remember what I was saying with that. I was talking about the Fat Albert with the shell. So the first thing I know Jean is going to do is she's going to go run in white people and go pull what I just explained to you, what she tries to pull. So you need to disregard any white peopling crap that comes from Jean, obviously. But you wouldn't even need me to tell you that. Because you already know Jean did it. You know what Jean's up to already. It's just in case any other white bozo out there that's listening that wants to fancy themselves to go white people for Jean Roberts, to go upset people, don't. They know that this is Jean Roberts doing. They know she's committed these crimes. I've been decoding the crimes she's committed for 10 years. But anyway, so I'm pointing it out. She's using ice on the show, okay? So the characters are controlled. So you could probably literally decode the whole show. You probably could. And the show is precious. Everybody loves the show. But this is what I did when I first started decoding crimes that Jean committed. It was breaking my heart. Like I was like bawling. I was freaking out. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to compartmentalize this. I'm going to have to take whatever I'm studying, whatever crime I'm studying, and I'm going to have to cut it into threes. I'm going to have to look at it without any feeling, because it was killing me. Because some of these crimes, you're like, and these events, you're personally emotionally attached to. Okay? So, and then finding out what she's done to other people and the pain that everyone else must be feeling makes me cry too. Okay? So the emotional attachment makes me bawl and cry and hurt. But that's what she wants, a mad AIW. She wants you mad. She wants you in the feels, and she wants you mad and upset. So if you're upset when you're trying to figure out what she did and you're letting your emotions get to you, then you're not in control and you're not finding out anything. And she is going to control and manipulate and run and go tell lies, and you're going to get more sap, freaking lie, freaking crap, cover up crap from Jean is what you're going to get. You're not going to get anywhere in figuring out what's really going on. She's a distractor. So I'm like, okay, so let me read this, how this is. Okay, how it is in history. Let me read what this is. Let me understand this. Let me consume this. Let me feel all of this. Like, you know what I mean? And then, like, take my moment and then learn all about this. And then, now I'm going to look at this same crime again, and there's no feels. There's no feeling. There's just logics, okay? Just decode. Look at all the specs. Decode everything out. And then look at the story, the crime again, and look at how it is noted in history, and then how it is compared to the decode to figure out the entire composition of it. And then after that, then you can let yourself feel again, because then you're feeling the full agony of it. And then when you can calm your heart, you just press down and you move forward, and it's on to the next crime. Anyway, so as I was saying, so don't get upset. The first thing Jean is going to do is treat you like a 10-year-old and white people. If somebody comes at you like that, tell them, no, I don't want to hear it. The people running around doing that are turned in. Their leader is turned in. I don't want to hear it. I don't want any part of it. Leave me out of it. Or if you are in the position where you can go to the authorities, go to the authorities. If you know more information about the crime that somebody's talking about, that they're out trying to white people and they're trying to cast blame elsewhere and do mic droppies, and you know they're the literal criminals because they're the ones who committed the crimes, because they're the only ones pushing it out and pushing blame here and there and keep the same thing going. It's always been going. But if you know more information about it and you have a connection to somebody that is not entangled in her scheming web of pointing and lying and deceiving and conning and spinning in circles, and you have somebody that's that you know in the intelligence world that cares and that can hear your evidence, give them your evidence. I don't even know why I'm saying all this. You already know this. But anyway, so let me get back to this. So Okay, so the magic shell. So in this, I decoded with the magic shell. Okay, she's playing a game, a shell game. Okay, and I know all about shell companies and shell this. Well, this, which is probably goes to all this, the shell game that she's playing. Okay, I decoded it all out, and I decoded it around, when I was decoding her using my Rubik's Cube as a terror plot, the terror scheme, and I decoded out a huge terror plot in it. Well, it's a world-ending terror plot, but there's the blocks or chunks of terrorism that layer on top of each other, and it just goes until the end of time. It just keeps compounding, keeps getting worse until the end. And we are in Revelations. We are in the end. Like, we are in the end. And like I said in a previous podcast, I believe we hit the end at the forming of this nation. We've been in Revelations. I personally believe from my decode, I've been able to talk to anybody in person yet about anything, but I know from my decode, I know from the beginning of this nation. And so we are at the end of Revelations. It's at the end. We're at the end. It's almost the end. So anyway, so she was tricking. She's controlling my speech. She's making me use the word tricking. I did not say tricking anything. Again, I got her criminals controlling my speech because they think they're funny, but they're white supremacists, so they would just freaking tell a lie. It's because you just turned their asses out, so now they think they're cute, and then they're going, and then they're going, thank ya. They're doing that in my brain right now, literally. Anyway, she not tricked the Ku Klux Klan. She is the Ku Klux Klan. The leaders of Charles Manson is the Ku Klux Klan. It's the top of the Ku Klux Klan. It's all of the Ku Klux Klan. Anyway, her Charles Manson occult is funded by the Ku Klux Klan. So she uses them as a shell again to call her out. Pisses people off because she'll warp what she did and twist it around to make it look like I'm saying something I'm not saying, to get people angry and mad, and again tricking people into attacking and protecting Jean Roberts, who's a white supremacist. Jean Jernigan Roberts, her and her Manson occult. So anyway, the Ku Klux Klan, it funds Charles Manson, okay? So I've told you how all this works before. And she rips off from the police, and then that goes into Ku Klux Klan, and then from the Ku Klux Klan it goes into Charles Manson. That's how she does it. And I know she does it a whole bunch of more ways, but this is one way that I've decoded, and I have talked to law enforcement in my brain because they figured it out, and they figured out where she was stealing and funneling into the Ku Klux Klan and then into Charles Manson. I decoded where she was using them as a shell to hide under. So we both found out the same thing. We were just able to put the pieces together. So anyway, so they're equally guilty. Anyway, so that goes with the magic shell, and then here she goes again with the shell, right? So look at the initials of shell, MS, and then later on she forms the gang MS-13. And the way they're named is legitimately named, but she's like, Tink. with her magic pen with ice. This is going to work out for me. Even that Manson, and then even Mason, because she's probably pretending she's a Mason doing it too. So anyway, so Magic Shell, so she's like, look, I'm going to hide under the cartel. Which tells you that's even more evidence. I've decoded so much of her stalking cartel family lines, it's insane. She has stalked ever living hell out of the cartel. So I decoded it back to her stalking cartel family lines back into the 70s, and then into the 60s, and then the leaders of the cartel, they were working on it, and I'm sorry, but the thank you whores are in my brain going, fuck yeah, and they're stabbing in lies in my brain. Well, the kind of people that they are doing that to you are the kind of people that they just stabbed in your brain. They're fucking disgusting. Ignore them. Anyway, so, okay, so the leaders of the cartel said, we're working on this because we wanted to know all about her stalking of all of our family lines. And they had it back to the 50s, okay? So this again proves, her stalking the cartel, because the cartel, MS-13 is named after, I think it's named after her family, but regardless, it's proves she's stalking. However, MS-13 formed those families, it proves she was stalking those families. So, okay, so another thing that happened when I was in grade school at East Globe, okay, and this was all toys are important. Every toy is important. Okay, and it's all signs of the future. So two things were, one thing that was really popular when I was little was disappearing ink. And I already told you guys about that in my podcast. You could buy it at like the prank store, and you could like squirt it at people, and it would squirt like blue ink all over your shirt. And then in a second later, it would completely disappear. And it was just like the most fascinating thing ever. So anyway, okay, so disappearing ink goes to disappearing ink. It goes to ink shirts. Okay, so the disappearing ink and then shirts. Okay, let's send something else at East Globe when I was little. At the end of every school year, the last day of school, we would wear a t-shirt to school, any old t-shirt, and the entire class would autograph everybody's t-shirt. So by the end of the day, we would go home and our t-shirts would be filled with signatures. Everybody's signatures were on our shirts. Okay, it was autograph day. So that goes to disappearing ink shirts. That goes to, and I need you to pay attention to me here throughout this, okay? So disappearing, no, I'm sorry, she's moving my eyes to this space in front of my door under my floor in my bedroom, because she put her presence under there a little while ago and she claimed she was a Joint Chief of Staff, and somebody along with myself told her to go to hell and freaking chunked her back in her cyberspace area out there. She's actually from Milton, Florida. No, she's not the Joint Chief. She's a goddamn dumbass. And then people gave the Navy, actual Navy, hell. Anyway, so the disappearing ink shirts, that goes to Scott and Bounty, okay? So that goes to Scott paper towels and Bounty paper towels, okay? So another thing with the paper towels, you got to remember TP stands for Thought Police, Orson Welles, all Orwellian, all that, everything, okay? So and it also stands for white power, okay? She uses WTP as white power. Winnie the Pooh, it's our white power theme, okay? So it's white power, and she also uses thought police within that. Okay, which you'd freaking expect from freaking white power. Anyway, so, which has probably got people like super mad at her. Well, she's white and she stole AI. So, I mean, okay. So, and she's the one that's been icing everyone, and she thinks she's got everybody under her freaking ice control, but just do it her way. So, no, you're not going to tell lies and just freaking wreak havoc everywhere. Okay, so I don't care. You can do your little mirror bit, entertain yourself. Put up a mirror. She does that in my brain. She puts up mirrors in my brain. Entertain yourself. There you go. Okay, let me get back to this. Let me get back to this. So anyway, I make so much freaking fun of her. She's such a fucking dumbass. So anyway, okay, so pay attention within here, and then OJ Simpson, okay, connects here, and then Bronco connects here, and then Ronco connects here. Now, for those of you guys about my age, you remember the company Ronco was really popular in the 70s. They came out with all the gadgetry and the infomercials on TV. They were probably the inventors of the infomercial, because they're the first infomercials I ever remember seeing. They came out with Mr. Microphone and everything else. Okay, so they sold something, and I didn't write down what they sold. You're going to have to go research Ronco's products, and you're going to find out a whole bunch of everything. Okay, so, so, Ronco, so this is notable. I noted this down. So, O.J. Simpson, you know she took O.J. Simpson's life. I believe she's holding, Nicole Brown Simpson hostage. I've been thinking since I've decoded her framing O.J. Simpson, then he just recently passed away. She took his life. She framed him twice, and she took his life, okay? And she stalked a heck out of everybody in his network. And she was told, in my brain, in mental telepathy, when I was in the middle of decoding O.J. Simpson again, I decoded her committing crimes against him when I was in Slidell. I decoded more crimes. I decoded more on O.J. Simpson when I lived in Oklahoma City when I was living with my son. Anyway, she was told in my brain, Jean Jernigan Roberts was told in my brain to keep the hell away from him and his entire network of people. Anybody he knows, she is to stay the hell away from. And she did not do that. And she took his life. So anyway, okay, so I have a whole bunch of decode on O.J. Simpson that I decoded, including people and family in his network. Okay, I've decoded a ton. Okay, so anyway, the glove compartment in the white Ford, okay, so that goes to this Bill Cosby. So Bill Cosby, she links icing Bill Cosby, okay, to her attacking O.J. Simpson. Okay, so this is important. The glove compartment in the white Ford Bronco. The glove compartment comes into play during the infamous low-speed police chase on June 17th. Okay, so here's more. Okay, so also on Rainbow, don't forget, telling myself, don't forget Rainbow Lake and then Rainbow Bands. Okay, so Rainbow Bands is in airwaves, which also or sound waves, okay, band waves, okay, So also when I was in grade school at East Globe, I had to go see the doctor. I had to go see the psychiatrist, the school counselor, whatever. Out of the middle of nowhere, I had to go see the school counselor. They were like, you need to go to the principal's office. And I was like, why? I was like in 3rd or 4th grade. And I was like, well, you just need to go. And they're like, you need to go talk to the counselor. We're going to set you up appointments to talk to the counselor. And I didn't know why I was sitting in there for. I didn't know what for. I didn't know what this was for. All I remember is playing with blocks and having to do ink blot test. And I told you about the ink blot test. Like, I was just like, not, the ink blot test, I was just like, they're like, what do you see? An ink blot. What's in the ink blot? It's just the ink blot. But like, I would like make up stuff to like make the counselor happy. I was just like, I still don't get the thing with ink blots. But anyway, so that goes to Dr. Huxtable. So Bill Cosby later is cast as a doctor. And also, oh my God, I didn't even think about that. He was cast as an OB. An OB, an obstetrician. Jean Roberts is a leader. Sharon Tate, she's stalking the heck out of him. You know her obsession with pregnancy. It's insane. So, anyway, also in that is, as this relates to Bill Cosby, she also did this. So you're going to see all my decode on ink. It's in my podcast, so you can find it easily. But also in this is blotter. So ink blot and then blotter, so like a police blotter. And then also, I was living in Globe, Arizona, and then Globetrotters. And then if you look up Bounty, something to point out about Bounty, the history of Bounty spill commercials. The 1960s, because you remember the Bounty commercials, like the blue liquid that gets squirted on the paper towel, it gets squirted on and then the paper towel and then it absorbs it. Okay, and all I'm thinking of is the freaking disappearing ink and then Thought Police and all of Gene's goddamn crap. I'm like, God, you are such a LSD, old hippie freaking... Don't let me curse you out and call you every name that you are right now, but everybody knows that you are Gene Roberts. Anyway, so the 1960s debut, early 1960s Bounty commercials pitched the towel as a product. To get this, the magic pen, pitched the towel as a product that absorbs moisture like magic and sucks up spills faster than the leading towel. Oh, so you got the vacuum reference here. Okay. And then you also have this, probably also later links to, because that was during the gas shortage crisis. It probably links to future oil spills that Gene Roberts and her Manson occult also committed. So that is the end of this podcast.